Here's one for you. What's big, muscular, black, and girls tell me that they love to ride on it? Well, a Ducati Diavel, obviously, you complete sickos. Here at Bike World, we usually like a reason as to why we're going to ride a bike, whether that be because it's new, maybe it's had some updates, or maybe a new bike's just been launched that's going to compete against it. But sometimes you just don't really need a reason. But we sort of have a semi-reason, because we're just about to announce the winner of our Diavel competition, where one of you lucky viewers is going to get to ride away on this bad boy for 2 weeks and do absolutely whatever you want on it. And that's why we're taking a look back at this bike to show the winner exactly what they should be getting excited about. This isn't just any standard Diavel though, this is the carbon edition, and so guess what it comes with? A load of carbon fibre. You get a carbon fibre tank, a carbon fibre seat panel, carbon fibre front fender, a Zerkotech coated exhaust system, whatever the hell that means, and a different seat. In terms of performance upgrades, the only actual upgrade are the wheels, which are forged aluminium Marchesini wheels, and they weigh about 2.5 kilos less than the standard bike's wheels. That doesn't sound like a lot, but at speed, that's a lot of unsprung mass that you're taking off the bike, and it helps it feel a bit nippier in terms of acceleration, and it certainly helps the bike through the corners when you've got less gyro effect from the wheels. A few months ago, we were riding the new X Diavel in San Diego, California. Today's not going to be quite so glamorous. We're near Gatwick, but we've still got this cool bike, a little bit of sun, and so silver linings and all that. When Ducati launched the Diavel a few years ago, they told us that this thing would satisfy most sports bike owners, and I think a lot of us took that to mean that it would handle and ride like a sports bike, and obviously it doesn't. At 234 kilos wet, it's obviously a lot heavier than a sports bike. It won't track around a corner like a sports bike because of the way it's been set up, and obviously this thing just simply isn't a sports bike. But does that mean it's not sporty? No.
A decent rider on this, and I'm not saying that's me, would eat someone for breakfast on a sports bike if they weren't quick on it. So you can just absolutely throw this thing around, and then it's got the drive to annihilate you out the corners.
This 1200cc twin kicks out 162 horsepower, and it kicks out the max power over 9,000 RPM. So it's not one of those really lazy engines where all the grunt is down low. With this, you sort of have to work for it a bit. There's also 41 degrees of lean to play with before you start decking out the pegs. So the Diavel isn't just quick, and it doesn't just handle well for a power cruiser. It sort of does those things well full stop. Now you'd think that with that big engine and the humongous 240 section rear tyre, that straights would be the most fun to attack on this bike, but it's actually the corners.
If you look at it and you think, that's not gonna be any good in the corners, and it just takes you back how quickly and how stable it manages to just beast through them.
If you've ever done any drifting or power sliding in a sports car versus an estate car, you'll find it a lot easier to do it in the estate car, simply because it's a bit longer, it's a bit more friendly, and it's a lot less snappy. This is reminiscent of the estate car. It's not quite as scalpel sharp as the sports Focus machine, but you tend to find that you can ride it a lot harder, a lot more of the time, simply because it's more predictable and it's less quick to go out of shape when you do start pushing it beyond those limits of grip. What's not so good about the Diavel? Well, the gearbox is a real pain in the arse. If you can get this thing into neutral on your first attempt, you deserve some sort of a medal.
Okay, here we go, second gear. Right, here we go, first. I'm gonna try neutral. No, second. No, there we go, first again. It is super annoying. Oh my God, get in. Looking down here, by the way. I'm still honestly trying to, there we go.
If you can go through a whole ride without not hitting a false neutral in fifth gear once, you also deserve some sort of a prize. Like any premium bike these days, you get fully adjustable suspension, high-end Brembo monoblock brakes, grippy tyres like these Pirelli Rosso 2s, and a plethora of electronics. In the Diavel's case, you get a keyless start system, traction control, ABS, and a few different riding modes which change power delivery and peak power, and you can all do it on the TFT screen. We were recently out in Misano for World Ducati Week, and they had a number of these bikes going up the start-finish straight doing drag races. Now, why drag races? Well, these things are probably one of the quickest 0 to 60 mile an hour production bikes in the world. The low slung weight, the power and torque from the engine, that massive rear tyre makes loads of grip, and then the feel from the clutch and the throttle means that you can launch this thing off the line like absolutely no other. I think it's really easy with bikes like this to get sucked into those performance claims, and you end up seeing them as only a bit of a one-track minded toy, only really good at going fast. And having ridden this bike for a few months now, I think it's obvious that it's so much better than that. For example, the seat is really comfortable. When you sit on it, the riding position puts you in a position where you've got a load of feel over the rear brake. Now, that doesn't sound very interesting, but it actually means that you can thread it through traffic really accurately. It's got a 17-litre tank, which means that you've got decent mileage between fuel stops. And then because of that bright LED light and the fact that this thing has got so much road presence, I simply feel a bit safer on it than I do on other motorcycles. We always recommend test riding bikes, but it's definitely worth it with the Diavel and the X-Diavel range, simply because there are so many bikes in the range. This is the Diavel Carbon, it costs $17,595. If you want to spend a bit less, you can obviously get a standard Diavel, or you can get a standard X-Diavel, or if you want to spend a bit more, just over 18 grand, you can get an X-Diavel S. And the difference between the Diavel and the X-Diavel is not just the way it looks and the riding position, but also in the engine tune. The X-Diavel has got a slightly retuned engine, so it makes similar power, similar torque, but the max torque figure is now around 5,000 RPM versus the 8,000 or 9,000 RPM on this bike, so it definitely feels different to ride versus the Diavel. So it's worth coming down to somewhere like where we are today, P&H Motorcycles, where you can demo any of the bikes and find out which one is right for you. But no matter what you choose, you're going to be pretty damn chuffed with any of the bikes in the Diavel or X-Diavel range. So it looks like our competition winner is going to have a pretty awesome 2 weeks on one of these bad boys.
I don't know which way to look, to be honest. Which way's got the better view? That way or that way?